Good evening, everyone. My name is Barb Ruth, and I'm the author of Enough Already, Winning Your Ugly Struggle with Beauty. This is the 8:30 celebration of the release of Enough Already. The official release date is today, March 17th, and so this broadcast is an opportunity for us to just celebrate together. Now, it's not just a celebration of my book, but rather it's the celebration of an opportunity, this amazing opportunity that we have as women to enter into a dialogue that could actually change our lives. Every morning we wake up and we look in the mirror, and what we see and how we feel about what we see when we look in the mirror, well, it can deeply impact the way that we live. And so this book, Enough Already, Winning Your Ugly Struggle with Beauty, it was an opportunity for me to just think about some of the places where I've struggled regarding my shape, my style, and my soul, and for me to share my stories with you in hopes that together we can look towards God and we can find encouragement and support from each other. Well, today's broadcast, this is about finding just some fun things to talk about, some things with the book, some fun things that I've seen out there out on social media regarding beauty. And then I'm going to share with you about some things that I'm hoping that I can do to serve you as you are navigating the struggle. Now, depending on the device you have, you may have the option of submitting questions during the broadcast. If you would, you can look towards the right part of your screen. If you are, we're using the Google Hangout program, and you may be able to submit questions during the 7 p.m. broadcast. I had the chance to field a bunch of questions, and that was lots of fun. And so I've enabled the question option. And so I would love for you to talk with me. If you've read the book, you can ask me questions about perhaps like favorite chapter, or maybe there were things about that you wanted to share about your experience with the book. If you aren't familiar with this topic or the book or even me, feel free to ask me questions. Now, a little bit about me in case you don't know me. I want to welcome you if you've just joined us. I am right now broadcasting via Google Hangouts from my office at Cedar Creek Church in Perrysburg, Ohio. Back at my homestead, there's 2 dogs, a couple of college students, a high school student, a hot hubby, and a rabbit that's really noisy. And so I thought perhaps I would broadcast from here. One of the great parts about broadcasting from my office is an opportunity to tell you a little bit about this artwork, which I'll share with you in a moment. We're going to talk about, like I said, topics related to the book. And then I'm also going to share with you some of the things that went into the making of the book. A little bit about this vest here. So if we just kind of dive in, part of what started this whole thing is that I have always had struggles related to my style, my size, or my shape. And those struggles were at differing places in life. Maybe it was sometimes I had the struggle over my teeth, or sometimes over the fact that I had glasses, or times in life where I was bigger or smaller or top heavy or what have you. Well, those struggles are what I call our ugly struggle with beauty. And because we look in the mirror as women every single day, that struggle always follows us. And like I said a few moments ago, our ugly struggle with beauty isn't just about how we look. It's because sometimes how we look, it deeply impacts how we live. One of the parts of my job that I enjoy is going to women's conferences, and I have the opportunity to speak in a variety of different places. Most often, I'm asked to speak about topics related to what we call inner beauty. So virtue, gentle and quiet spirit, those are some faith-based terms that we use. They want us to talk about joy and peace and character, and those were all fine and good until it was break time. Well, break time or lunchtime, it was a completely different conversation, because at the tables, I would listen to women talking about how they couldn't eat dessert. I can't possibly have dessert. My hips are already too big. Or, oh my goodness, if I just could take away some of these wrinkles, I would feel better about myself. And there were all of these conversations where women were talking about their struggles with how they looked. And it was interesting to me that when we would start to have conversations about topics related to outer beauty, most women would go, oh, no, what's on the inside matters most, as if the struggles with the outside didn't matter. Well, here's the thing that I've discovered. What's on the inside does matter most. but it's not the only thing that matters. The book itself, Enough Already, Winning Your Ugly Struggle with Beauty, is about creating a dialogue where we have a conversation about inner beauty and outer beauty and how they intersect and connect with each other. Now, I've got some other things to share with you about the book, but one of the things that I want to kind of move towards somewhat quickly are some of the things that have influenced the actual putting together of the story. Back in October of 2013, I launched the Created with Curves study. And over 525 women from around the world joined this online through SurveyMonkey to give me their opinions about beauty. Some of the information from that survey is included in the book. I asked women, like, describe for me what beautiful is. What's your definition of beautiful? I asked them to rate the different areas of their body. If you have the book, I also give readers the opportunity to rate their body. In a chapter called Flaw Finding, there's actually a survey where you can rate your body. I figured that this was such a profound exercise for the survey participants that I wanted you as possible readers to do that as well. There were also opportunities for women to share with me the stories that have followed them for a lifetime about beauty. It was when I sat and read these stories that convinced me that this was a book that God wanted me to write. Here's one of those stories, and I didn't share this story during the 7 o'clock broadcast, but I think that maybe I would share it here. This is one of those stories that it really drove home the point that what we see does matter. And this lady says this is in the chapter, What is Your Beauty Narrative? She says, as an incest survivor, I was told I was fat and ugly and would never amount to anything. And I believed that in my heart my entire life. I worked my tail off to get thin, but it didn't make me happy. I was still called the Great White Whale after losing over 50 pounds, eating cheddar cheese, cucumbers, and Diet Coke for 7 months. Today, I am close to 400 pounds. My body is a time bomb. I need hip replacements. I lost my parents to diabetes, and now I am diabetic as well. I am dying the same ugly way my parents did. I can't make myself stop eating, and I know it won't make me happier. And then she goes on to talk about the fact of how she feels and how that impacts how she thinks about herself. There are other stories that are a little less dramatic, but still have the same impact. Another woman shared, when I was younger, I was very thin and flat-chested. Even my mother-in-law made a comment that she didn't know what first attracted her son to me because I didn't have a womanly shape. She goes on to say, I considered having breast implants for a long time. The book itself wasn't just about my desire to write a book. It was really about my desire to create dialogue that would connect us as women through our struggles to each other, as well as a dialogue that would send us looking for a connection to God, because God has a lot to say about our ugly struggle with beauty. One of the cornerstone pieces of the book was trying to help women see beauty through God's eyes. This is a faith-based book, and I don't know if you know me or not, or know a lot about me, but I've been on staff at a church for many years, and I have a strong faith-based perspective that is grounded in Jesus Christ. And so what that means is that I look at the world through the lens of Scripture. I try to look at the world through how God wants me to live. And God has this divine perspective on beauty. And it's a perspective that has really helped bring me from a place from struggle to a place of peace. And the book itself, there are chapters in there that kind of help us see what God's framework is, and then how to apply that framework to our lives. Now, there are also places where we want to laugh in the book. I believe that it's important for us to laugh. In fact, I shared a lot of just some nutty, bolt, gritty stuff with you, but there are some things about beauty that can make us smile from time to time. So I thought maybe I'll take a quick break and share some of those with you. While I grab that, I got a question in. The question is, what is your favorite accessory and what is your biggest clothing pet peeve? My favorite accessory is all accessories. If you know me, I am somebody who enjoys accessories. Now, I don't believe in owning billions of accessories, but I do believe that there is just something about adding a pair of earrings or a necklace that helps us feel like we've done something special for ourselves. Many years ago, I was in a tough place in life, and I really didn't care a lot about taking care of myself. I call those the dark years. I just felt bad. I mean, that's really plain simple. And because I felt bad, it translated to the outside. A good friend of mine, she just made an offhand comment one day. She says, you know, every day I make sure I put on a pair of earrings. At least it lets me know I did one thing for myself that day. So I went home and I thought about it. And the next day I put on a pair of earrings. And what that translated to me was I thought of myself that day. You know, we have to get dressed because really we need to get dressed. We cannot walk around naked because that's a whole other thing. But when we take the time to do that little bit of something extra, that's a moment we take that is for us. And so that's how it kind of all got started for me. I put on that one extra piece of jewelry. And it wasn't like it changed my life or revolutionized everything, but it was one thing that I made a choice to do for me. My biggest clothing pet peeve, when clothes don't fit well. Like that is, for me personally, I can't concentrate when things are too tight or too weird or flying around. I don't like to think about what I have on. When I get dressed, I just want to be dressed and I want to be done with it. I don't like to think about my clothes. I want them to fit comfortably. So that's probably my personal biggest pet peeve. Another question related, where do I like to shop for clothes? Where we shop, I think, is highly personal. I'll talk about my website in a bit, but there is a blog on my website about why women don't like to shop. And at the bottom, I give some tips about shopping. One of the tips I give is for us to try on, well, for you to try on all the clothes in your closet, and the clothes that you love and you look awesome in. And when I say awesome, like you put it on and then you strut. Like that's what I mean by awesome. Clothes that you strut in, that you know you look bad in. Look at the labels on those clothes. Buy those clothes. Like you don't have to walk into a store and start all over with the whole store. That is overwhelming. But when you look at the labels on the clothes that you look awesome in, then buy those labels. And you've got to know kind of what colors and things. I wasn't going to show this until later, but a friend of mine, Sherry Brindell, she wrote this book, Help Me Jesus, I Have Nothing to Wear. This is nuts and bolts. My book, Enough Already, it's about digging through the ugly struggle. You got to sort that stuff out before you're ready practically to do some stuff. But this book is really about the practical things. Sherry talks about those practical pieces, shopping for your body size, knowing the right colors for you. But you could really help yourself out by trying on the clothes that you already own, getting rid of the ones that don't fit anymore, getting rid of the ones that make you sad when you pull them out. Don't wear clothes that make you sad. Like for some of you, that could be the aha moment of this broadcast. Don't wear clothes that make you sad. Like get rid of them. You will not be naked if you get rid of the clothes that make you sad. I promise you. Find the places that sell the clothes that look great in and buy there. So that's easy. Whew, as you could tell, that I could go off on a rant like that. One more question, my worst fashion mistake. Oh, goodness gracious. So I can't tell you the whole story, but it's a story about a time that I wore a wig and it was a hot day and I was working in what I thought was a private space. And so I took the wig off and hung it on the doorknob. And then the people who kind of let me in, I was working like in a little enclosed space. They opened up the door. And when I came into their store, I had long hair. But when they opened up the door, they saw my long hair hanging on their doorknob. That perhaps is one of my more embarrassing moments. So I got some other questions that were really great. Thank you for sending them in. I wanted to move on to a segment that I call What It Really Means. What it really means are some of the shopping things that are out there, and we see these things and we believe that they mean one thing, but they really mean something else. Case in point, number one size fits all. For me, when I see one size fits all, what that really means is it's not going to look good on anybody. That's what that really means to me. Another one, I see this all the time, 80% off. We go into the store, we see 80% off clearance. We get all excited and crazy. But you know what that means? It means the store is saying, please, please come buy the clothes that nobody wants to wear. Like that's what that means. here is an item that I absolutely adore. I love me some Lycra. Like, I love me some Lycra, love it bunches. But you know what Lycra really is, what it really means is, it means go ahead, eat what you want, and we won't tell. Like, that's Lycra. That's what it means. There's another item that that exists because of Lycra, and that is Spanx. So we see Spanx hanging in the store, and what Spanx is really trying to tell us is that you should have bought a bigger size, but we gonna do the best we can. So those are things, what it really means. So I thought it would be fun to share some of those with you. If we go back to kind of the big picture of the Enough Already journey that I'm hoping that you join with me on, it really comes down to moving from a place where we struggle to a place where we see ourselves through God's eyes and realize that we're enough already. In the early part of the book, it's about unpacking our ugly struggle with beauty. There are a few chapters. The first chapter is essentially our ugly struggle with beauty. Chapter 2 is who told us that we weren't beautiful. This is a chapter that it gives us an opportunity to kind of look at culture around us. At the beginning part of the chapter, I talk about magazine articles and I talk about things that we see in the newsstands. And here is the magazine that I'm referring to in chapter 2. Now, this is a Lady Home Journal magazine. And real quick, I want you to understand that I am not against the beauty industry. Look at me. I believe in eyeshadow. I believe in lipstick, makeup, earrings, jewelry. I am not trying to villainize the beauty industry. This was one of those magazines that I looked at while I was writing the book, and I was caught by all of the titles. The first is how to look sexy at 30, 40, 50, 60. It's going to give us advice on how to look sexy. The second that I saw was the whole body anti-aging guide. Apparently my thighs need to read this one. This one, got belly fat, will convince you to lose it. And I'm like, you know what? Any woman out there with belly fat doesn't need to be convinced that she needs to lose it. I don't get that one. The spa facial that you can do from home. I haven't looked that one up yet, but it scares me. Now, what I love is, so all of these capture kind of those, hey, you need to improve this about you. But you know what? Let's be kind. Down here, it says, set a pretty table for Thanksgiving. So it's not all about how we look, right? But I really thought that that magazine article captured some of the messages that we're getting from culture, messages that are really trying to highlight, you need to improve this, you need to improve that, you need to improve this. And if we accept all of that feedback as valid, when we look in the mirror, we are carrying all of that feedback with us, and we need a better way to establish the truth. And so my book it's really about how do we see God's truth when it comes to beauty? How do we see that truth? A little later in chapter, I believe it's the flaw finding chapter. In flaw finding, I'm hoping that's it. You would think that I would know since I wrote the book, but there's a section about, let me go, I think I put the sticky note there. There's a section about fake is the new real. And that's why I wore this vest today. If you see this vest is one of my favorite pieces of clothing, but it inspired that section. I was at a store one day and I see this vest hanging up high, and I asked the salesmen to get it for me. And we had this whole dialogue at the counter because he was like, oh, do you see how fabulous this vest is? And I was like, yeah, it's amazing. And he goes, do you know that it's vegan leather? And I was like, vegan leather? And he goes, yeah, it's like vegan leather. And I was like, well, what's vegan leather? He goes, it's not real leather. It's like, I think it was like, it's responsible or something like that. And I looked at him and I'm like, do you mean pleather? Like, is this pleather? Like, it was $29.99, y'all. I knew this vest was not real leather. But he really wanted to convey this idea that vegan leather was in somehow, some way equivalent and comparable to the real thing, perhaps maybe even better for whatever kind of ecological animal consciousness thing going on. And so there is this thing that's happening in our culture where we have definitions of beauty, definitions of how we are supposed to be that we are struggling with every single day. And how we manage the struggle is going to really have an impact on how we think and live. And what I'm hoping that if you read the book and you go on the journey, that you have this discovery that God is the creator of beauty and not us. That when I look at this vest, in fact, for the last broadcast, I showed them, and I guess I probably should show you. So I love this vest, but there is a horrible secret with this vest. And so I'm going to show it to you. This is the horrible secret. Can you see the lining on this vest? It scares me. Like, it's a horrible, horrible lining. Well, I had to share that with you. But I really want women to come to this place where they see God first when they look in the mirror. That women see the God of the universe that created them as valuable and as humanity, as humans with a purpose. That is what God desires for us. God doesn't want us to look into the mirror at ourselves and see our mistakes and see the things that we're ashamed of and seeing the things that are less than, because he created us with a plan and a purpose. And we can't let what we see and how we feel about what we see in the mirror get in the way of God's greater purpose for us. So we've got to win that struggle so that we can move on and live out God's purposes for us. There are a couple of other questions that have come in. One of those questions was there anything that you wanted to include in the book but didn't? And why didn't I include it? Oh, my friend, there are so many things that I couldn't include in the book. One of the stories that I couldn't include in the book had to do with something called fairy narratives. There's the second chapter of the book. I share my struggle with beauty. My name is Barbara. And when I was a kid, I was this little brown skinned kid, and we used to play with Barbies. And so I would look at Barbies, and then I would look at myself in the mirror, and I'd be like, well, I'm named after Barbie and I don't look like Barbie. I'm a little kid. I'm not sophisticated. But for somehow, some way, I kind of like had this thinking that if I don't look like Barbie, then I shouldn't dream about or think about the things that Barbies do. And so Barbies were known for being beautiful, and they had the amazing house and the incredible car and all the clothes. And for some reason, when I looked at Barbie, and because I didn't look like her, I didn't let myself dream about those things. And I kind of had to sort that out in my life. Well, part of that narrative chapter, I also talked about the fairy narratives. I talk about Disney and how a lot of the struggles of the princesses in those vintage Disney movies are about beauty. Other things I didn't get a chance to talk about in the book, there were so many stories from the women who filled out the survey, so many stories I couldn't include. There was a beautiful story from a friend of mine that she talked about losing her ability to smile when she was in the 7th grade. She had Bell's palsy, and she talked about the long-term impact on her life. And because she had to navigate how she looked different, and one day she looked one way and another day she looked the next. There's a chapter called What Have I Done to Myself? There's so much more that I wanted to talk about in that chapter, because I think that so many women look in the mirror and they see everything that's happened to them in their past, and they think that their life experience overrides how God sees them, and it's simply not true. Other things that women asked about in the book. Gosh, thank you for sending in all the questions. I have so many questions. Favorite accessory? My favorite accessory is any accessory. I don't go overboard, but I do like to make sure I have on one piece of jewelry. Again, it just reminds me that I can do something for myself, no matter how busy I am, no matter how frazzled I am, no matter how I feel about myself, that even if I just slip on one pair of earrings, it was a conscious decision to do something for myself. Which brings me to one of my favorite beauty tips. I call it paparazzi up. Now, girls, hang on. That's why I have to explain to you this picture in the mirror. Now, you know what happens when you wake up one day and you only have 5 minutes to get to where you need to go. You have 5 minutes to get out the door. This paparazzi up tip is what's going to get you out the door in 5 minutes. This painting behind me was a gift. I received it from dear friends of mine in La Ceiba, Honduras, and they had an artist take a photo that was posted of me on Facebook. Now, this paparazzi up tip was actually, I did it in real time. I needed to take a photo for a reason. This photo was taken at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I actually have my pajamas on under this black shawl. So the paparazzi up tip goes like this. What you need is, you need a hat, and that hat goes on your head. Well, let me tell you what you need. You need a hat, you need a pair of sunglasses, you need a pair of earrings, a necklace, lipstick or lip gloss, and then a matching top, a top that matches your hat. Now, the paparazzi up goes like this. You make sure first you comb your hair, because let me tell you, if that hat blows off, people gonna know stuff. So comb your hair down, pop the hat on, throw on some moisturizer so your face looks alive and fresh, pop on those sunglasses, throw on some lip gloss, lipstick, then pop on your earrings and throw on a shirt, sweatshirt, jacket, jacket or shawl that matches your hat. You will be able to do that in less than 5 minutes, and you can walk out the door, and it is a look where nobody will know that you had just rolled out the bed 5 minutes in advance. Another question, the biggest surprise in hearing stories from friends and acquaintances, I think it's hearing things that people don't normally feel that they have a chance to express. Unless we give ourselves permission to talk about beauty, unless we give each other permission to talk about beauty, we won't know to talk about it. We'll share about it in terms of the outcomes. Oh, I gained weight. Oh, I've got wrinkles. Oh, my behind's too big. Oh, what happened to my chest? But we won't talk about the feelings behind it. We have to give each other permission to have the conversation. At the end of every chapter in the book, I wrote discussion questions because I want women to have a dialogue and a conversation about their ugly struggle with beauty. I want women to be able to open up and share the places that they have had difficulty getting over and getting through. And I believe that when we share, we have a better chance of pushing through the places that have been difficult. Let's see, other questions that I've gotten. I think I got those. What do I do when I have to get ready? That was the paparazzi up tip. Let me tell you about a few things that I wanted to give to you. Thank you so much for joining into the broadcast. We've just got a couple of minutes left, but there are some things that I desperately wanted to do for you, not just for now, but for later as well. First, I want you, if you haven't, get the book. This is something that was written for you. I share my struggle so that you can share through and win your struggle. I have the books on sale at barbruce.com, or you can go to Amazon or any of the others. Also, I created a 7-day beautiful devotional. This beautiful devotional, it will be thoughts based on scripture for 7 days starting this Monday through next Sunday. And you can have that delivered through your email just by going to subscribe. Actually, on this webpage, you can click the button subscribe, give me your name and email, and I'll make sure that this beautiful devotional is sent to you each day. And not only that, ladies, on the shop tab, where you can find the book at, but I also have free downloadable resources. These downloads are something that you can print and you can hang up. There's the beautiful prayer. There's the exercise in how to see the goodness, the purpose, and the blessing in your body. There's also the being a woman that cares tips. These are free downloads that are just for you, that I want you to print off and share with your friends. And speaking of share, I also have an entire Pinterest board. If you go to Barbara Roos on Pinterest, there is an entire Enough Already Pinterest board. And the reason why I created it was so that you could share encouragement with your friends. There are things there that will remind your friends that they are enough already. And so I'm hoping that you will go to my Pinterest board and share that with a friend. You can put a smile on the face of a woman who's struggling. So those are things that I wanted to share with you. If you, depending on where you're at, if you have any kind of connection to the women's ministry at your church, I really have a passion for sharing this Enough Already message. In addition to being able to equip women to see themselves through God's eyes, I would love to talk with your women's ministry coordinator, or it's your small groups pastor, whoever's in charge of programming. They can check out my website. There's a video there of my speaker clips and that kind of thing, just to see if that I'm a fit. But I would love to bring my Enough Already message to your audience. And then, ladies, for those of you who've read the book, I would love it if you had a chance to go to the Amazon site or Barnes & Noble, wherever you purchase the book at, and post a review. I have so many friends out there. I have been overwhelmed by the incredible support that I've been given. Well, I would love for the ladies in the rest of the country to also jump on board so that we can have this dialogue all across America. But they need your voice to encourage them. So please leave a review. Let your voice encourage women to dive in for the journey. Share with them the places. If God has spoken to you through the book, share with them how it's done. So I've just got a few moments left. There are some giveaways that I need to give away. I use rafflecopter.com. This is a free raffle service. And so a lot of you joined in. It was an amazing giveaway. Thank you for joining in. And so I went in right before this broadcast, about 8:15, and I selected the winners. I'm giving away 2 books in this broadcast, jewelry, as well as a box of gourmet chocolate. So the first winner of the Enough Already book, the first winner is Julie Danner. Another winner of the Enough Already book is Sherry Haidu. Then the gourmet chocolate. This is a gourmet chocolate from Chocolat. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous chocolatier here in Perrysburg, Ohio. That goes to Ashley Myers. And then I have created 2 pieces of jewelry. And these 2 pieces of jewelry are a necklace. And this necklace contains a charm that I made. And this is specially created saying, "You are enough already." And so I have 2 of these. One is in silver, and then one is in gold. And again, being able to carry around the Enough Already message. And so the winners of those both are Jessica Fuller and then Restina Goshner. So I will post the winners on my Facebook Shape, Style, and Soul page. This broadcast will actually automatically upload to YouTube. And so you have the opportunity to share it with your friends who weren't able to join in tonight's broadcast. Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for letting me share with you. Please sign up for the beautiful devotional Bible study. I want to send that to you, as well as check out the downloads at my barbruce.com website. It has been a pleasure being with you. God bless, ladies. Now, okay, so here's that awkward moment where I have to end the broadcast. So it's like I'm kind of going to hang up first. So forgive me. Good night, ladies.